help other people manage their affairs. And at the soup kitchen, there's a lot of people like that who are have cases at probate court, and so I'm very familiar with their needs, which I think is important. The soup kitchen is located in Willimantic at the St. Paul's Church on Valley Street, and it operates a soup kitchen as well as other programs for persons who need food and food to both eat in the at the dining room and food to take home. And also we provide some medical services to the individuals who come to the soup kitchen. And also provides a real community sense for people who are out in the cold in the winter or out in the heat in the summer. And it's a place where nobody gets turned away, everybody gets fed if they come down there. Oh, and at the soup kitchen, that's been an organization that's been just growing tremendously over the last 20 years that I've been involved. And it started out as a very smaller program, and now the church itself has become smaller, and the soup kitchen has gotten bigger, and the soup kitchen actually now owns the church buildings, and we're in the process of renovating the church buildings so that the roofs aren't leaking anymore, and the space is healthy again, and for people to eat there and to be there. And again, it was a win-win situation for the church and for the soup kitchen. One of the things that I feel very strongly about is when I'm participating with an organization like the Covenant Soup Kitchen or the library or the Board of Education, Board of Selectmen, I like to try to accomplish something and make a difference. When I was on the Board of Education, some of the members and some staff identified a program where students learned English and Spanish simultaneously, starting in kindergarten or first grade. And we started a program here in Windham called the Companeros program, which we traveled up to Boston and observed a school up there that was doing this program. And that's been a very successful program and something I'm proud of. When I was on the Board of Selectmen, I kept looking at this cornfield and realized the town owned a cornfield out in Windham. It really did not have many, Windham doesn't have that many recreational facilities to offer. And we were able to turn the cornfield into soccer fields, on a little baseball field, and some tennis courts. And when I was on the library, we were over at the one of the things our little library in Windham Center does is have the students from Windham Center School walk up to meet the librarian and take out books and hear a story. And we didn't have a sidewalk, so that became difficult in the snow and ice for the kids to walk up. And so when I was on the Board of Selectmen, we were able to get a little stone dust sidewalk from the school to the library. So those little projects are things that I like to do, and I like to see accomplishment from government, not just looking at problems, but again solving problems. One of the other things that I've done, as I mentioned, that I had been a teacher for 4 years in high school after college, that I've begun teaching again at the QBCC, the community college in town. And I've been teaching a law class on Thursday nights, and that's been also a very rewarding experience. And teaching what I've learned about the law to they're not all younger students, but to the students has been very rewarding. One other thing that I hadn't mentioned was one other aspect of the court work is working with persons with disabilities, and that's something that is of interest to me, and something that personally I have experience with, and then I do have a brother who lives in a group home, and I've seen how probate courts and the state serve people like him and his needs, and are there to protect his interests. So that's another part of the court system that I think is important, and that I have some familiarity with. Well, you do get involved in your cases. I mean, you get emotionally involved in your cases. when you try to advocate for your clients, because that's very important as a lawyer, to advocate for what your client wants, and also when you represent children, you have to advocate for what is in the best interest of the children, because sometimes they can't tell you. And in some cases, for instance, I represented a grandmother, for instance, who was lived in Philadelphia and tried to get her 3 grandchildren from foster care in eastern Connecticut to live with her in Pennsylvania. And to accomplish that, it took over a year. We had to go to Pennsylvania to have a hearing before the state officials in Pennsylvania. And after a year and a half, all 3 kids were able to go and live with her down in Pennsylvania, which I thought was the place that they should be. In those kind of cases, it's hard sometimes for non-lawyers to understand that you take on a case, you live with the case for a while, a couple of years oftentimes, before cases are over. I still have juvenile court cases today that I started probably 10 years ago. They last until the child's 18 years old. One of the things that over the years I've realized in doing the kind of legal work I do is that you do get into situations where you kind of cross over from being a lawyer to something else, and sometimes I'm a conservator for an elderly person or a person who has special needs, and sometimes you have to play the role of sometimes a parent, sometimes a nurse, in terms of taking care of the immediate problems that are presented by your clients. There have been times when I've had to feed my clients, spoon feed my clients dinner at the hospital because there was nobody there, and they were hungry. And there's times when a client could be very sick and there's nobody to make, if I'm the conservator for that person, and there's no family, you have to make medical decisions for people that you serve as conservator for. And I've also served as conservator for younger people who have traumatic brain injuries, who have some limitations and can get themselves into some difficult situations where I'll get called and have to drive somebody to the emergency room or pick him up at the hospital and take him to the emergency room so I could take him back to where he was living before he ran away. And so I think sometimes lawyers end up becoming, in these kind of cases, becoming social workers or almost like members of the family. I think it's very important for a probate judge to be fair, to be honest, to be very thorough, and to be understanding in terms of the decisions that the judge has to make, which affect the residents of our district so profoundly. And I think based on the experience and the training that I have and the type of person I am, that I think I would be able to do a very good job at being a judge and making those type of decisions. Well, we had a convention for the new probate district, and this district really, this is a new district, as I said, but this district consists of the 6 towns: Hampton, Scotland, Chaplin, Lebanon, Wyndham, and Colchester. And each town had some delegates that they selected, their town committee selected, and we had a convention in Hampton in May, and I was chosen as the candidate for the district, receiving the majority of the votes of the delegates from all of the towns. And so that makes me the endorsed candidate, and I am being primaried by another candidate, and then I will have a Republican opponent in the fall. But it's very important that voters come out for this primary, which is on August 10th. The primary will determine who will face the Republican opponent in November. John McGrath, and I approve this message.